Hey there, and good morning, or whatever time it might be, whenever you're choosing to watch this. This is Hatha with Jim, and today is Posture Clinic Day. It's a Thursday, and I'm about at least just shy of 2 months into being sheltered at home, and about a month and a half, a little bit more, of doing videos as a way of staying connected. And part of it has been practices, regular practice, chair yoga practice, and the posture clinics, which are designed to be a little bit more instructional, although that's the nature of my teaching practice, and focusing a lot on one particular thing than trying to do a little bit on many things or several. I'm going to tell you I've had yoga dreams the last 2 nights. I won't get into what they are, but pretty interesting. Well, last night's dream was dreaming I was going to teach somewhere, but I couldn't get there until late, so somebody else was going to teach it. And there was no social distancing. And it kind of creeped me out a little bit. So there you go. Today's posture clinic is, and these posture clinics also coincide with a book I am allegedly working on. And this particular chapter is, I've been working with the title of the chapter, but it's about the breath, about pranayama, and engaging that into the practice. And my titles for this chapter have ranged from Remember to Breathe, All About Breath, and Finding Your Breath. And all those are really applicable. So this is about pranayama, and pranayama really, to me, it's not only the foundation of my teaching practice, but my practice in general, which very much extends off of my practice on the mat. Why is this? Well, pranayama is a way of really changing the energy inside yourself. It's also a part of your practice that you can literally take anywhere with you at any time, because it's all about breath. So when you're standing in line, when you're waiting in traffic, when you're having an argument or a difficult situation with someone that you are in relationship with, whether it's a friend, a coworker, or a partner, finding that breath it's a way of shifting the energy. When we talk about this energy on the mat, it's really a way of, once you get that good alignment, to really engaging in the breath, to have a more expansive experience of the pose and your practice in general. What does that mean? It's a little different for everyone, but the notion is connecting movement with your breath. And once you have your good alignment, having it be all about the breath. And just seeing what that's like and how that changes and helps your practice to evolve. Okay? So that's kind of the big picture of why the breath is important and how it's the foundation. I had one teacher, I'm pretty sure it was Darren Rhodes at Yoga Oasis, who would say, if nothing else happens in class other than you are inspired to breathe more fully and deeply, you'll have a great practice, regardless of what's happening with your hatha practice. So regardless of how you are in poses, if you can find that breath, if you can engage in that breath more fully and meaningfully, you're going to have a great practice, and everything else is gravy. All right, so that's kind of the big picture. The smaller picture is we're going to break this down, okay? One thing that's important is to understand that some of the mechanics of the breath. And one real principal mechanic is that the belly wants to come in on an exhale and expand out on an in-breath. Now we're going to do something that kind of shows that. And actually, before we even move into this, I'm a believer in having a little bit of a warm-up before we sit and breathe. Otherwise, for me, I'll get a little bit antsy, not quite ready to sit until I've moved around a little bit. So we're going to do the 2.5 minute warm-up. So we're going to come standing. Take a wide stance. With an exhale, fold down. Engage the legs. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, come down onto the left knee into a lunge. Just bringing the hips forward, gently turning to the right towards that front foot. Inhale, push back. Exhale, coming forward, again gently turning, twisting to the right. Curl the back toes. Inhale, walk the hands around. And with an exhale, come down onto the right knee. Same thing. I'm going to turn that hip around. We'll turn it in towards the left. Inhale, lift through the heart. Exhale, push back. If you have a block, you can bring it to the inside of that right front foot. Exhale, coming forward, gently turning to the left. Keep the spine lifted here with the block. Exhale, we'll curl the back toes. Inhale, walk around. Exhale, fold, hands to the hips, shoulders back. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, arms down, walk the feet in. Inhale, the left arm up. Exhale it over. Bring that left hip back. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Bring the right hip back. Inhaling up. Exhale, feet together, front of the mat. Hands to the heart, feet together, make sure they're parallel. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, the knees bend, the tailbone tucks, coming back a little. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold with the knees bent. Inhale, lift the gaze, straighten the legs. Exhale, fold, bend the knees. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, hands behind the back, interlock the fingers. Exhale, stretch the arms down and the shoulders back. Tailbone tucks, inhale the arms up. As you stretch them out, exhale, release. Turn, feet slightly apart. Bend in the knees. Inhale the arms up. Exhale the hands up, hands behind the head. Slight bend in the knees. Inhale one way, exhale the other. Moving with the breath. Inhale, the arms drop, the hips one way, the arms the other. Still connecting with your breath. Slowly come to a stop. Shake everything out. And that's your 2.5, 3 minute warm up. We'll come sitting, and as we sit, we want to find either a block or a bolster or a blanket folded up, something that will get your hips off the ground, because as we sit, if the hips are not above the knees, and so here I am on the block just to show you, my hips up, my knees rest comfortably down. This creates a situation at the base of the spine where there's no compression on the lower back. Makes it easier to sit. If I come off a block, if I don't have anything, notice how my knees come up a little bit. It's not a big deal, but in about 30 seconds, I'm going to start to do this, come down a little bit, or be a little bit antsy. when I can get my hips off the ground, and it can be a blanket folded like this, sitting on the fold. Again, notice how I come up. A little bit easier to sit, easier to breathe. If you don't have a blanket or a block or a bolster, you can use some kind of a pillow that's got a little bit of width to it, a little bit of girth to it. So I'm a fan of the block, and I'm going to use 2 blocks together. And I'm sitting forward of the block, so the block really supporting me. And again, easier to sit, easier to breathe. And you noticed how I connected my movement with my breathing throughout the little warm-up. There was nothing fast or complex about it, but you notice that nice, gentle flow, and that is a part of how we engage the breath in our practice. All right, so I think it's important to understand this notion of the belly coming in on the exhale, going out in the in-breath. So I'm going to show you something, and then you can do it yourself. Now that we took all this time to find our seat, we're going to come off the block or the bolster or the pillow. We're going to come lying down, and you can watch this. My feet are going to be up like so. And I'm going to place my hands gently on the belly, fingertips meeting on either side of the belly button. And I want you to watch the movement of my belly. With an exhale, just notice how the hands come down, the belly gently sinking. With an in-breath, the belly gently rising. The exhale, the belly sinks. And granted, it is aided by gravity. The in-breath, it just kind of automatically comes up. The exhale, it comes in. And this is how the belly wants to move on its own. Now, if I aid it with a little bit of conscious breathing, I'll kind of push up into the belly on my in-breath. And with the exhale, I'm going to engage the abdominal muscles, drawing the belly in. Now I'm going to push up more, see how the fingers rise. And the exhale, release. So you can see, hopefully, how the belly, moving on its own without a lot of coaxing, wants to come in on the exhale, wants to expand on the in-breath. So now we're going to come back and find our seat again. And we're going to practice that from a seated position. And the first thing I'd like us to do is to experience how we can engage the belly. So we might think, well, you know, I'm a yogi, so I've got more control over my belly. You know, it's not a lot. It's simply engaging the abdominal muscles. So we're going to practice that by pumping the belly. So what this means, we're going to inhale without thinking about it too much. And with an exhale, we're just going to pump the belly in and out while holding the breath. So it'll look like this. I'm going to give you a side view. So with my hand on my belly, I'm going to inhale. And I'm holding the breath here. I'm going to pump the belly. So it goes like this. And as I exhale completely, I'm going to hold the belly in. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. With my in-breath, notice how the hand comes out as the belly expands. And I think I'm done breathing here. I'm going to pull up on the lungs. This part is super important. I get so much more breath in. I hold my breath there. And having experienced working the belly, I'm going to exhale, draw the belly in. Squeezing, squeezing. With the in-breath, I release. The belly comes out. When I think I'm done, I'm going to pull up on the lungs. I can get almost twice as much breath coming in there with the exhale engaging the abdominal muscles. I had one teacher describe this as it's like trying to touch your back from the inside, squeezing. I don't know if that was Suzanne in Rochester or Lori in Daytona Beach, Lori Goman or Suzanne Linsky, two wonderful teachers I've had. Again, the in-breath, the belly soft, and I'm going to push out through the belly, pulling up on the lungs, sitting tall. Exhale, again, the belly coming in, squeezing, 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 and then we just release. So this is an example of how we engage the belly and how important that is in what we think of as abdominal breathing. The essence of abdominal breathing, the belly comes in on the exhale, expands out on the in-breath. And you're going to find the more you can draw the belly in, the more you can extend and expand the exhale, the more we can do that, the more space we can create and engage our lung capacity to draw breath in. The more breath we can draw in, the more our internal energy shifts and we can slow things down. We can find that place of calm and quiet while still having energy and alertness. This is an important example of what I think of as the yin and the yang of it. Opposite and seemingly opposing energies working together. So one energy being calm and quiet, the other energy being engaged and very alert. Okay, very clear. So the mind is sharp and engaged while it's also relaxed and calm. The yin and the yang of it. And when we can get there, that's when everything starts to change. We think of our practice in a different way that allows us to get into good alignment and then to be with the breath once we're in that alignment. And that's when our practice begins to shift. Okay, so there we go. So we're going to start with abdominal breathing, and one of the things that we like to do is count a little bit. So with the exhale, we're going to draw the belly in to the count of 6. With the in-breath, the belly is going to expand to the count of 5. And when we're done with the count of 5, we're going to pull up on the lungs to finish the breath. And then again, the slow exhale to the count of 6. So we're going to do that a few times to move into the breath more fully. At some point, I'll stop counting, and you'll kind of have that in your own head. And one of the things that this does is it helps us to build some new muscle memory. And that muscle memory being the belly coming in on the exhale, expands out on the in-breath. And for some people, this is a completely different way of thinking. I think I have that image of story of the three little pigs, and I'll huff and I'll puff, and I remember there was this sense of, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down, of the inhale being like this. Everything comes in on the inhale, and that's the opposite. Belly expands on the in-breath and coming in the exhale. So for some, that's kind of the opposite of how we breathe, okay? Of how people were taught to breathe or how they taught themselves to breathe. So we're going to change that. It takes a little bit of conscious energy and direction to do that before the muscle memory kicks in and the belly starts to work on its own a little bit more automatically. In on the exhale, out on the in-breath. Okay, so before we even get to that point, we're going to kind of experience this sense of longer exhale. So we're going to do a pranayama, a breathing exercise that kind of sets up that abdominal breathing a little bit more. And this pranayama is a special breath where the exhale is through the mouth. And it's not through an open mouth. It's not like a, it's not that. It's the lips being pursed together, and as you exhale, you force the energy out through the mouth being almost closed. And the idea is that you have to push a little bit more, and it takes a little longer. So it kind of forces you to experience this longer exhale as you push the air out. You're going to find that you make a little bit of a whistle, the part of the lips being together, and it makes a little whistling sound. So we're going to do that for a few breaths so you can experience that sense of an extended exhale. And from there, then we're going to come into breathing all through the nose. Inhale and exhale, okay? So here we go. We're going to sit tall. Again, the lips are going to be together. We inhale. With the exhale, it goes like this. Now that's a pretty good exhale. And the reason why it can go so long is because it's taking more time to push all the air out due to the nature of the friction of the closed, almost closed lips. So we're going to try that a couple of times. And as you do this, as you extend this exhale, you're going to draw the belly in. So the longer exhale, the belly coming in. As you breathe in, the belly expands, you can push out. And the exhale again will be through the mouth in that same way with the lips together. And through this engagement of the breath, we hope to experience a longer exhale coupled with that belly coming in on the exhale, expanding on the in-breath. So there we go, sitting nice and tall. We inhale with the lips together, pursed, exhale, and draw the belly in. Still squeezing into the navel. Inhale, the belly softens and expands. Pulling up on the lungs. Again, the exhale through pursed lips. Inhale, the belly softens and expands. Pulling up on the lungs to completely fill the breath. And now through the nose, exhaling as the belly again comes in. Squeezing at the navel, like you're trying to touch the back from the inside, still squeezing. In breath, the belly softens and expands. Pull up on the lungs. Exhale to the count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The belly coming in. Releasing, breathing into the count of 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull up on the lungs. Exhale to 6. Belly coming in. 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, the belly softens, expands. Pull up on the lungs, sit tall. And for the next few moments on your own, belly coming in as you slowly exhale. Inhale as you're ready. Pull up on the lungs. Exhale the belly in. And for the next few breaths, breathing like this. Belly in on the exhale, in on the in-breath. And moving into this place of calm and quiet with each breath. With each breath, finding this place of calm and quiet, and a place inside you might think of as your ideal place of relaxation. And as we continue to move into the breath, what I like to do is set an intention for the practice, tuning into what I might be wanting to receive. So intention, that's a whole other practice or a whole other chapter of this book. For now, let us be content with this sense of learning a little bit more about abdominal breathing and training the body to move into this mode of breathing. And with your exhale, the eyes are open. So we've worked on the breath. We've been sitting a little bit. Let's bring the legs out in front, come off of whatever prop you might be on. So we should be feeling a little different. I'm rolling the ankles, stretching the toes. The next part of this working with the breath is once we kind of have this abdominal breathing thing down. And you'll notice this is a breath that you can easily translate into your practice off the mat. It's especially like if you're in a tense situation, you know, that the exhale, the belly coming in, it's really, really nice. It's a nice place to be able to go when you're feeling tense or anxious. All right, so the next part about engaging the breath is this sense of connecting movement with breath in your practice. And movement with breath is simply inhaling into something, exhaling into something, or inhale getting ready, exhale moving in, or with an inhale getting ready, or an inhale moving into something, an exhale expanding into that. So we'll give a few examples of how that works. So coming onto hands and knees, we'll simply move into cat and cow. So in cat and cow, we set a foundation, which is another whole important principle of our practice. So in this foundation, the back flat like a tabletop, the hands directly underneath the shoulders, the head lifts. And with the in-breath, the belly drops down, lifting the head and the heart, getting that arch in the middle back. With an exhale, rounding up, belly comes in. Hold the breath for a moment. Inhale, belly drops. So here we are moving with the breath. Exhale, rounding up. Inhale. And with an exhale. Inhale, back to tabletop. So I'm going to move my hands out in front a little bit. I'm going to inhale, draw the head forward. Exhale, drop the arms, roll the shoulders back. Inhale, lift up into this gentle type of cobra and up dog combo. Exhale, push back into child's pose. Inhale, draw everything all the way forward. Exhale, bend the elbows, drop the shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, push back. So you can see how this gentle flow works. Inhale, forward. Exhale, bend arms, drop shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, child's pose. So absolutely nothing complicated or complex. And you saw how I incorporate the movement into the breath. Inhale, coming up. The issue I have with so many vinyasa classes or flow, so-called flow classes, is they tend to move so fast, boom, 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 that it's impossible to cultivate this nice, long, or this nice engaged abdominal breath, because you're off to the next move before you can really complete the breath. So a flow class that works for me is, I think of as a slow flow or a slow-mo, slow motion flow. You saw me moving pretty slowly there, but each movement was connected with the breath. So you see how we do that now. That's one piece of the puzzle. Another piece is, once you're in the pose, how you can really use the breath to your advantage in the pose. So we'll give an example of that with a simple twist. So I'm going to come back up into a seated. Well, actually, I'm going to be off the block, but I'm going to use a blanket, not to be like this, but to be more like this. I'm going to sit on the fold of the blanket, and it's just to give me a little bit of leverage, just a little bit of lift. So I'm going to show you how we can employ the breath into a twist. So here I am. I'm going to be just an easy pose, simple cross-legged position. Although half lotus is available to me, I might go here, but my ankle's a little bit like, nah, I don't think so. So here I am in simple, easy pose. And I'm on the very edge of the mat, sitting tall. In a twist, one of the primary tenets of a good twist is to keep the spine long. So as I twist, I don't want to be like this. I want to be like this. So I'm going to show you how you can use the breath once you're in a pose. So I'm going to take my left hand to my right knee. The right hand's going to be back behind me. It's going to be in close. Now, in a passive way, I might be like this with the spine. I don't want that. I want to sit tall. So here I am, sitting tall. This right shoulder, I'm going to roll it back. The left hand is against the right knee, so I have a long spine. So that's my foundation. Here's how I use the breath, and how you can use the breath. Inhale, lengthen up. With your exhale, twist. Now I'm twisting through the shoulders. My head, you'll notice, is not craning around. I'm going to inhale, maybe lift a little more. Exhale, I'm going to move into the twist a tiny bit more. How much? Just depends on how I'm feeling. Might not be anything, but I use the breath in this way. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, I can either stay here or I can move a little bit more, not forcing, but just gently exploring. With an in-breath, I back off. Exhale, release. So there's the example of how you coordinate the breath with how you move into a pose a little bit more, or how you sustain the pose, okay? And when your focus is on the breath, it's not on other things like, what am I doing after practice, and what time is it, and how much time is left. So other side, give you an opportunity to do this again, sitting tall, right hand to the left knee, left hand behind you, and sitting nice and tall as you gently push into that back hand. Here's your foundation. And then we inhale, this left shoulder roll back, exhale, gently turning and twisting. Now you might find one side is a little more open or less open to this than the other. Doesn't matter. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, moving into the twist a little more, or just holding it there. But either way, face is relaxed. The in-breath, exhale, either hold or maybe turning it just a little bit more. Inhale, release. Exhale, bring the legs out in front. Bounce them around. So that's kind of the nature of our posture clinic and some different examples of how we utilize the breath, how we first find that breath, and then how we use the breath in our practice to move in and out of poses, to sustain us while we're in the poses. Okay? One more pranayama I'd like to work through and to show you how it works and to hopefully maybe help teach you how this works. It's ujjayi breath. Ujjayi, U-J-A-Y-I. And it's sort of what I think of as sometimes the noisy breath. Sometimes you come into a class and you might think, wow, what a bunch of noisy breathers. And what you have here are people engaging in ujjayi breath. I'm going to take a little drink of water. And this is a breath that emanates from the back of the throat. And as you kind of close that area in the back of the throat, as you draw the breath in, there's a friction that happens from drawing in with the throat almost closed, and that's the sound of ujjayi. Now, why is ujjayi important? Why is it a breath worth working on? Because of that friction in the back of the throat, you kind of have to work a little bit harder, but we draw the breath in more deeply. And once you've mastered ujjayi, which happens fairly quickly, you know how sometimes when we do this breath where we inhale, belly comes in, and then we pull up on the lungs? Because the nature of ujjayi, it's kind of the opposite of the pursed lips and that exhale that extends the exhale. The drawing in of the breath through the back of the throat, it kind of extends that inhale, okay? And so when you do that longer, you don't have to pull up on the lungs. You sort of more naturally are getting the fullness of the breath, okay? So sometimes it's easier to learn this breath. Oh, and so why ujjayi? It's a breath that really helps to get us more into that space of calm and quiet while we're energized and alert, okay? It gets us into a deeper, more meditative space. And the sound of ujjayi, it's almost like our own little mantra, which helps us to get there. So as the mind is kind of wandering, like, yeah, what am I doing after class? What time is it? How much time is left? When we can focus on that sound of ujjayi, which is something like this, it doesn't take the place of these thoughts, but it helps us to focus on that sound and on the breath rather than the different things coming into our head. Okay? Getting back to the mechanics of ujjayi a little bit, you're going to find if you've never done this before, at first, there's going to be a little bit of a tickle and maybe even a slight irritation you might feel in the back of the throat. It might cause you to cough a little bit or have to clear your throat, or you might feel that kind of a little bit of a sense of rawness. Now, I can tell you, while that's true, that dissipates fairly quickly as you continue to engage. It's as if the back of the throat adapts and adjusts to what you're doing, and it kind of numbs that area so that it's not an issue. The other thing you're going to find is as you begin to master ujjayi, you can control the sound of the breath. So you might be able to make it really loud, kind of like this. That's the inhale. The exhale, it's going to be so soft, only I can hear it. Now you'll hear it because I've got a microphone, but you'll hear how soft it is. That's the soft. Here's the loud. And of course the belly coming in. So you're going to find you can control the volume as you control this breath. And I like to find a little bit of a medium kind of volume. Not too loud, not too soft. I want to be able to hear it, but I don't want to be, obnoxious about it. I don't need to be. I just need to be able to hear it myself. Okay? So sometimes it's easier to learn this breath through the exhale. So I'll show you how the exhale works. Now, if you've owned a pair of glasses or sunglasses, or if you haven't, you've probably seen someone do this where you clean the glasses and you kind of, you're holding the glasses, and with an exhale, you'll breathe onto the glasses to get some condensation. So you'll go kind of like, or, and then you'll take some kind of a cloth and you'll wipe the glasses and you kind of get them clean because you've got that condensation from the. So what we do in Ujjayi is we do that, but we just kind of extend it and we do it with the mouth closed. So instead of this, that's extending with the mouth open. And I'll show you, I'll start with the mouth open, but then I'll quickly close it. Now we'll do it just with the mouth closed the whole time. I'll inhale, the belly expanding. And with the mouth closed. And now with the belly in, I'm going to pull back, almost like a bellows pushes the air out. Now I'm going to draw it back from the back of the throat. With the exhale from the back of the throat, draw the belly in. Eyes closed, squeezing at the navel. Belly in. Inhale, belly softens and expands. This is tall. Exhale, belly in. Inhale. Drawing that breath in through the back of the throat. See, at some point I want to pull up on the lungs like I did before, but as I continue the Ujjayi, I don't need to because there's just more breath to take in. Exhale. I'm going to open the eyes. I'm going to show you how we incorporate the breath into a slow flow. Inhale, coming onto hands and knees. Exhale, getting into position for tabletop and getting ready for downward dog. You'll bring the hands slightly in front, shrug the shoulders up to the ears, separate the feet with an in-breath. Exhale, pushing up and back into down dog. Not going to spend any time here working this, but just to kind of show you. In breath, walk that front left foot forward and come down onto the knee. Exhale, into a lunge. Draw the heart forward. Inhale, drop to the back knee, sitting up. Shoulders back as we exhale. Inhale, arms up. Lengthen up. Exhale, coming forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back into the lunge. Inhale, hop forward. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend knees, tailbone tucks, coming back a little bit. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Straighten the legs. Inhale, lift the gaze. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, step back with the left foot. Finding that nice lunge. Inhale, lengthen out through the heart. Exhale, drop to the back knee. Sitting nice and tall. Square that left hip around. Inhale, shoulders back. Exhale, tailbone tucks. Inhale, rising up, lengthening. Exhale, bring the hips forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back to the lunge. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, extend the heart forward, back through the back leg. Here's the yin and the yang of it. Upper torso forward, lower torso back. Inhale, walk the back left foot in. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale. Exhale, release the hands. Coming into mountain pose, feet together, shoulders back. Inhale. Exhale, tailbone tucks. Inhale, get really tall. Engage the legs, the feet. Exhale, relax. Slight bend in the knees. Inhale. Exhale, relax. And just find your breath for a moment, wherever it goes. Tuning into how your body is feeling. Notice I'm still engaging in Ujjayi. With an exhale, open the eyes. And there you have it. We'll come sitting again, and I think of that as kind of a primer to this sense of remembering to breathe and finding your breath and having it really be all about breath. That sense of finding your breath is, once you're in a pose, maybe this is the final piece of this puzzle. We just kind of showed you connecting movement to breath in that slow flow. And that sense of finding your breath it's kind of like once you're in a pose and once you have that good alignment, like we did in the lunge. So here, for example, here I am in the lunge. And I've got good alignment, the knees over the ankle, pushing back here, lifting the head and the heart. So here I am, I've got my good alignment, and once I have it, I find the breath. And by that I just mean I find that nice deep breath. My exhale, I come down. So just finding that nice deep breath once I'm in the pose. And that, to me, it's almost the ultimate. It's like I've gotten my alignment down. I don't have to worry about, the position of my hands or my feet or whatever, because I've done that. And that's what I call, first level yoga, is mastering the pose. And next level yoga is incorporating the breath and the yin and the yang of it, and not worrying about the alignment because I'm already there. And once I'm there with the alignment, just that sense of moving into the breath, finding that breath. And if I can't find the breath, in other words, if I can't get that full breath, what I want to do is back off of the breath or back off of the pose. So maybe I've tried to go too far. And by backing off of the pose, I try and re-engage the breath. Or I can get that So how might that manifest? Well, let's take a look. Let's come into a pose like camel pose. So in camel, the foundation is set by the knees together, the shoulders back, the tailbone tucks. And here I am inhaling, lengthening up. Exhale as I come back. Now I might try and come back too far, or I'm straining too much, whatever it is, and I can't find that breath. So what I do is I back off from the pose a little. Maybe I don't come back quite so far. And then I just, where's the breath? And with my exhale, maybe I bring the hips forward a little more. Maybe I back off from the pose a little bit. Exhale, maybe move into it a little more. The hips forward, shoulders back. With the heart lifts, I find that in-breath. And with an exhale, release. So, same thing, say, for a twist. So, here's a twist on the back. Let's bring a foot up here like this, arms out. As I exhale and come over, and I'm twisted, maybe it's too far, and my breath is short, I'm going to maybe back off from the twist. Maybe come up like this even. Maybe even if I have a block. Maybe even place a block under the knee so I can more easily find the breath, the exhale, release. And if you don't have a block, maybe you just use your hand like this to support the leg. Find the breath. So the other side. Move over just a little bit. Exhale, coming over. And if that's too much, I'll just support the leg like this. Find the breath. Exhale. And remembering that the breath is really the most important part of the pose. So if you can't find the breath, that sense of backing off so that you can get a deep breath. Just as important as, how your body is placed and the alignment of the pose. They're equally important. So that's kind of a primer to, all about breath, okay? And using abdominal breathing, not only throughout your practice on the mat, but the more you can incorporate that into your practice off the mat, you're going to find that, there are aspects of your life that begin to shift, as well as your practice on the mat. I had one teacher, and I can't remember who this is, who said that he or she had a teacher that said, master your breath and you master your life. And I found that something to be really true, is the more I can master my breath, the more things can change for the good, for the better, out in the world for me. Okay? It enhances my ability to deal with what happens. Okay? So there you go. All about breath. Come sitting nice and tall. With your exhale, belly coming in, squeezing at the navel. In breath, the belly softens and expands. With your exhale, bring the hands together at the heart. And just taking a moment to feel your gratitude and appreciation for all the many blessings in your life as we bring this part of our practice to a close. Even finding the gifts in things that really are presenting as challenges right now. And especially giving thanks for these bodies which continue to do so much for us. Even at times we may feel a bit challenged within them. And take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, bowing to yourself, and inhale coming up. I do hope this has been helpful. I think it's important to understand how the belly or how the breath works and how it works in your practice to help enhance and really define your practice. If you're seeing this over Facebook, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you are feeling inspired to make a donation, you can do this through Venmo, going to Rebecca-Lipson-1. That's Rebecca-Lipson-1. This is Hatha with Jim. It's been my honor to be with you. Exhale, bowing to yourself. Inhale coming up. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste. And we'll see you next time. And remember to breathe.